Day 5 of my Unconditionally Love Yourself Like the Bad Bitch You Are 30-day challenge is a big topic and one you do not want to miss. We're going to be diving in to being hard on yourself and what that does, and how most people are actually so hard on themselves so much on a daily basis without even realizing it. So I am going to give you the introduction of what this does and how to get out of this cycle. Even if you don't think that you're hard on yourself, you're going to want to stick around. I used to be the queen of being hard on myself. Every physical reaction, injury, anything that is presented in the body actually has an emotional root cause. And the emotional root cause is being hard on yourself for migraines. So migraines, I used to get them all the time, like at least once a week, mostly even more than that, to where like I was nauseous, I was on the couch, I needed to go in like an ice cave of like a cold rag over my head, and like I was so unwell. I thought that this was just something I was going to live with. After living with it for 25 years, I was like, wow, this is just something I'm going to live with, until I discovered intuition and got to the emotional root cause of being hard on myself. Now, because this was so deep within me, and it is actually so deep within most people, because we are not taught to praise ourselves, to congratulate ourselves, to go easier on ourselves. Like, it is built into even like our culture, especially in like the United States, to be hard on yourself, and you have to achieve a certain goals, and that external validation means something about you. And if you don't achieve your goals, then you're kind of like a shitty person. So this was so hard for me to get out of my system, and I still find myself in these patterns. I've only been working through this intentionally for about, I would say, like 6 months now. So I wanted to include it in this 30-day challenge because it is so important. It's something that I'm still working through. Even though I've made significant progress, there's always more layers and there's always more things that are going to come up. And we also have 8 areas of life. So even if you get good at not being hard on yourself in one area of life, be neglecting another area, that you are actually still very hard on yourself. How you get out of this is you first need to recognize when these thoughts come up. Most of them are unconscious and so ingrained in us that we don't even notice. So if you are prone to headaches, start to think about the last 24 hours and where you might have been hard on yourself. Even if you don't get a headache, just start to analyze your thoughts a little bit more. When we start to bring attention to our conscious mind, our subconscious beliefs start to emerge. You're making even a meal. Notice if you're like, oh my God, I put too much salt in that. Like, I suck kind of deal. And it might sound not as direct as that, but that will be like the underlining that, you put too much salt in something, God forbid, that everything's ruined and you're a horrible person for that. That's kind of those scripts that are running in our head without most of us being aware of them. And that was something that was ingrained in me and still sometimes is. Like, I will find myself, I've gotten better at this, but even in the days that I wanted to rest a little bit more and sleeping in, and then realizing it was like 8 a.m. instead of 7 a.m. And I'd be like, oh my God, I slept in for like an extra hour. Like, what's going to happen to my work? Like, I shouldn't have done that. Now this is going to go bad. And now this is going to go bad. And like, now I'm behind. When you notice those, start to talk yourself out. So this is how I shifted this. Was I would challenge those thoughts, and I'd be like, well, 1, I deserve rest. 2, everything is happening how it's supposed to. 3, I am now more well rested, so now I'm going to be better on the projects that I have to do for that day, and I'm going to show up for my meetings better. I'm going to show up for my intuition reads better because I am more fulfilled, so I can give more, and I'm going to be more productive by giving myself that hour of sleep. So these thoughts of I'm a terrible person, I just ruined my day for sleeping in for an extra hour, are false. And that is how I shifted it. And then you start to do this with every single thing you do. And this can be as little as, like I said earlier, putting a little too much salt in your meal, not making your coffee right in the morning. Maybe you forgot an extra tablespoon of coffee and the water to coffee ratio was off. It can be anything, even your finances. Finances are one of the areas of your life. So even when you're hard on yourself and being like, oh my God, I shouldn't have spent that money, that is creating a script in your creator field of being hard on yourself. And you're going to find other situations, circumstances, and people that are going to show up in your life and actually reflect that back to you on how you are being hard on yourself. Even for something as simple as like, oh, I really regretted that purchase. Now, it doesn't mean that you spend willy-nilly on everything in your life and then you never tell yourself no, but you start to change that language too, which now we're getting into more of like financial mindset, which I could create a whole 30-day challenge on in itself. But just know that intuition does come in to actually being able to test what things you should spend money on. But even something as simple as changing your language too, that's not something I want to invest in currently. So I'm going to pass on that. I have my finances being delegated elsewhere. That's perfectly fine. That's not being hard on yourself. But like saying, wow, I can't afford that, I'm such a shitty person, that's being hard on yourself. Or I can't afford that, if only I would have taken that last shift. If I would have taken that last shift, I would have had the money to afford that. So like my past self like sucks. Like that is hard on yourself. And also if you've already bought something and you're like having these feelings of being hard on yourself, start to neutralize that as well. So why was actually a good thing that you spent that on yourself? Because everything has negatives and positives. And if you're only seeing the negatives, you're missing half the picture. So dive in. Like you might have spent money on, let's do a new pot and pan set. Well, now you get to create even better meals. Now your meals are even more fun to create. Maybe your nonstick cooking pans make your meals even better because things aren't burning on the bottom. And now you enjoy cooking more, so you actually spend less on eating out, which means that you have more money freed up for other investments that you want to make. So if you are joining me on this 30-day challenge at any point in time, this is going to be a project. Like this is something that you should start today, but don't think that you're going to be a master of it overnight. This is something that we should spend at least a month on noticing our thoughts and neutralizing and coming up with like recognizing all the ways that we're being hard on ourselves. Because like I said, it is so ingrained in us and it is so unconscious, and it creates health issues that we don't want to have. We don't want in our body. For me, this was like a game changer for everything, because once I got rid of my migraines, I was actually able to show up better, and I was able to build my businesses. I was able to actually go through with plans. I wasn't having to cancel on people all the time, and I wasn't having to drag myself to work when I was like literally dying inside and nauseous and just like wanted to cry and be in a very, very dark room. This is going to benefit you so much. I also just want to mention it's not about like this toxic like positivity, and it's not about like this total like go with the flow mindset, but it is about seeing how everything is perfect and seeing the negatives and positives. And when you're so far in the negatives, we need to balance ourselves out with the positives. And it is also okay to have more of a go with the flow mindset when you are being too hard on yourself. Like if you had 10 tasks on your to-do list today and you only got through 8, instead of being like, wow, I suck, it would be this more go with the flow, like that's okay. Like I did 8 out of 10. That is amazing. I should celebrate myself. I should congratulate myself. And then I can just move those 2 tasks I didn't complete today to tomorrow's schedule. And that's not a big deal. And it's literally not the end of the world. I can do that. And that's the kind of go with the flow attitude that you can bring in. But it's not just like, oh, the universe will take care of it for me, because that's a whole other rabbit hole. But just know that there is some truth and there is some lies to like everything. And if you're following this 30-day challenge, I just channeled like source truth. And this is how we are going through getting to not be hard on ourselves and starting to see positives and negatives in everything that we do and everything that we are. I am so glad that you showed up here today to listen to this 30-day challenge and to be a part of this journey. I'm so excited. And I just wanted to give a little update of yesterday. I didn't make Christmas cookies, but I did bake with my boyfriend and we made some damn good brownies. And I also have some friend time on the schedule, which I will be including in here to keep you all updated as well. Have a beautiful rest of your day.